Hey there, guys. This is Silk. We are doing Operation Octopussy. This is technically it's a turn 4 recap, but really it's everything up to this point. I've done recaps before for early turns, and they're kind of blah. There just usually isn't very much going on. It's barely worth talking about. The stuff you talk about is obvious. Like, it's just from a value standpoint, it's just there's not a lot there. So I kind of wanted to wait until Japan went in, and now that they're at war. There's a lot more going on to kind of talk about, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So let's talk about Europe first, I guess. We'll start with Spain. So kind of as you guys saw, I took kind of a somewhat desperate fight into Madrid there. That could have worked. Wasn't quite as awful as it looked. If I had somehow managed to get 2 airplane hits on him, and he only got 1 airplane hit on me, I'd probably win that fight over the course of time. If the reverse is true, and he gets 2 airplane hits on me, and I get 0 or 1 airplane on hits on him, I just kind of lose faster, but I still lose. So it doesn't really, it's a disappointment, but losing fast is not as bad as just losing kind of either way kind of thing. So kind of had to do it. The dice didn't cooperate. Life is what it is. Japan's Civil War is probably over at this point, though, unless there's some other catastrophic, dice battle going my way. I don't see that getting reversed. So, congratulations to the Germans on that. We'll see if the Allies decide they're gonna threaten Madrid to take the point away later in the game. Let's move on to France. So, France is having some fun here. So, you can kind of see Bruce is deploying the triple fighter. Sort of the triple fighter entente there for France. You guys saw me use it last time in AvTac. It's kind of one of the 3 French strategies I used. Spoiler alert, I've got a French primer video that's getting uploaded right now. So if you guys have not seen that yet, that might be worth your time. Just something I kind of had in my brain for a little while. So if you're looking at France here, though, it's kind of ironic. It's almost the same move I pulled on Chris. Bruce is now using against me as the Soviets, and I know GWE was not particularly amused that my French defense had 2 fighters run away, and really all 3, because I used the one kind of like what Bruce is doing here. I used the one that I started with too to kind of minimize my French losses, and Bruce is kind of taking it a step further, and he's pulled 3 actual infantry units off the board to St. Pierre, who will get to live. So those guys are going to be around for the rest of the game. We'll see. They're kind of hard to make use of. If you want to do that, I would probably try to use this French Guiana instead as your port there. It already has a port in it, so you can upgrade this port to a major port, and suddenly all the Lend-Lease can come to it. It's super easy to get a transport there if you have to, right, to get those guys off. If you really kind of want to do a French fighting force. Generally, I've found this is a better choice than St. Pierre. But maybe he's going to do something. I've also seen where you take an American transport, comes up here, and the French get on it, and then the American transport walks over, and that's kind of how you get some use out of the French units. So we might see that. Meanwhile, Germany, so he's barely spent any money, really. He's spent a little bit. He's spent, I think he's up to, 19 on Spain, maybe? 10 and 3. I think it's 10 and then 3 times. So I think he's at 19 on Spain. Not terrible for me, although I'm in it, I think 11 for perspective, so I'm not really exactly ahead. That's really about all he's done. And then he bought this, and he bought the 2 subs. So he's very deliberately saving up a lot of his cash. And kind of the question is that because he has a deliberate scheme in mind, or is he trying to kind of just variability, wanting to be able to adjust on the fly based on the board. So it's a really interesting idea to save the German cash for turn 5, which turn 5 is kind of your big turn. You get to buy medium armor. You get to buy strategic bombers. Given his cash number, I'm guessing he's going to buy both of those. Probably he's going to try to buy a bomber before the war starts, which is a good time. I will say getting to Lightning War with the Strat Bomber is pretty cool. So we'll see if that is what's on GW's mind or if he's got something else. I haven't seen turn 5 yet. I know it got posted about a half hour ago. So I have not seen that, so these opinions are not based on whatever happens then. We'll deal with that later. We'll get to tech in a minute here. We'll go ahead and we'll look at what happened over here in Japan. Pretty good turn. Like, just swept the coast. No sweat. Very nice dice for the CCP here. What was the game? So I had a similar game as the Soviets. I now no longer remember if it was public or not, though, where I had Shanghai, and we had the 3 coin flips, this one, and I lost all of them. And the CCP army was just irrelevant. That's kind of what happened. Because I lost every one of them. I had to slowly get this thing back, then build the railroad, and then try to build it up. It was a disaster. That's not the case here. Like, I'm going to have a real army to work with. So this is at least gameplay-wise a little more interesting. I don't think Japan's going to be able to come into here. I should have enough forces to keep him away. And he's going to have a pretty easy time taking Kwangtung with no infantry there. He'll grab that without too much trouble. And then kind of what happens after that, we'll see what happens. I'm kind of guessing that the KMT will go here. They'll kind of start the turtle up, and then the game will kind of go on from there. So look out for that. That's probably really it for real pre-war maneuvers. Soviets are threatening Iran if we want to. We're kind of threatening Finland if we want to. I'm not really committing to either move until I know what the Germans are up to. It's a little bit of what has me stuck. Oh, Germans. Germans bought a light carrier, or started a light carrier, I should say, for 4. I'm curious to see what he does with that. I do really like the carrier in the Baltic. It definitely opens up Norway as an option and helps you protect Sweden, which does not need to have these American units on it. Let's go away. Things I didn't realize I cleaned off my board. It definitely makes it a little more easier to take Norway with that carrier. A little surprised he did a light carrier, though. I think especially this earlier in the game, given the way he's prioritizing the money, I think he may have been able to do a fleet carrier if he wanted it, unless he really needs it early. If he really wants it fast, and maybe because of Lightning War he does. That's the part I'm curious to see if he wanted it on board on turn 6. She still could have done with a fleet carrier if he wanted. He had plenty of money. He could have had a fleet carrier on board on turn 6. It things to look out for, definitely. As far as and I gotta move my boats on YouTube, not move them here. Get that updated. Tech. So Germans are having a disaster attack program. They are at 3 of 15. That is a 20% hit rate. Japan is even worse. They are at 1 of 7, right? Yeah, turn 4. So, and Italy is 3 of 3, but you don't care about Italy being 3 of 3. They would happily sacrifice all 3 of those successes and give them to the other powers, give them the choices, just because Italy is so hard to make useful in this game as it is. I've absolutely seen bad German tech programs. I have had bad Japan tech programs. I've seen bad Japan tech programs. I've never seen them both bad on the same game, though. And you play enough times, you're going to see enough dice rolls. You're going to see everything eventually, but this is apparently this one where both Germany and Japan have sub 25% tech games. And it may take them a little while to get it. I mean, dice will eventually, any given series of dice are going to return to the mean. You just need to create a long enough series. Going 4 for 4 on turn, 15 does not do them the value that going 4 for 4 on turn, 5 is, for example. So yes, the dice themselves, you could say, well, they were average across the mean, but the timing of when they happened, like my one, on turn 2. If that one had been on turn 6, instead, nowhere near as impactful as it is, early on turn 2. So, while yes, the dice in a series may behave, more or less to a mean, it's the snapshots, that we pay attention to, and that's definitely what that is. Meanwhile, Great Britain's tech is scorching hot, which is ironic because mine was. Britain for was hot and creates a lot of stress points on Germany. So Germany's definitely feeling they've got a high tech Commonwealth to deal with. Oh, submarines! He bought 2 more subs. I'm curious to see if he buys 2 more. That's the other wonder. You get to about 7 or 8 submarines, and suddenly you can really cause some. Last game, Panzer J, I think got to 5. He bought the 3. I already had killed a. I didn't ever have to really large. But again, Germany's got enough money, and France is light enough. Like, this is not going to be that hard to kill because of how much units are going. It's going to create opportunities for him. The other wonder is Germany coming for me? The fact that he took logistics as his first tech on turn 1 definitely indicates he wants to kill Russia. Logistics is a technology you want to have when Germany's here, so that you can just keep railing, scores and scores of units in to crush Moscow. At least that's what he has to do. A little bit of why I'm not too committal on my forces here. I may have Germany up in my kitchen very, very quickly, depending on what it is that he's got in mind. Is there anything else to comment on? I think that's about it. Is the America, poor Chris. America's been kind of dull until it's not. It usually don't really turn on until 7 or 8 that you really get to start influencing the board with America as far as that goes. So hopefully we'll get there pretty quick. I think that's it. So I'll go ahead and post this recap. I'll go watch turn 5. Take care, everybody, and probably see you in a day or 2.